Hi, welcome to week 8 of English 2332. Today we're going to talk briefly about Plato and the parable of the cave and a little bit about Francis Petrarch. Okay, first of all, I should point out that a lot of students struggled with the D11 discussion post, which asked, would you consider Oedipus the King to be one of the greatest plays of all time? Why or why not? And as long as you answered, as long as you attempted the answer and you're on topic and you had 200 words more, you got credit for it. But no one got the right answer for the right reason. So what I did was I rephrased the question as a bonus post, and I think it'll make the answer at least easier to find if it doesn't just hand it to you outright. The catch is, and you can earn up to 10 points. It says 0 points available, but that's so it won't count against you if you don't do it. The only catch is it's due before this Friday, March the 7th at 11:55 p.m. You've got a week. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Plato. Plato was an ancient Greek, although he lived a little bit later on in the Greek hegemony and in the Greek scheme of things. He was very well known. He started the first school called the Academia. One of the sources calls it a university. It wasn't really a university in the modern sense. It was simply additional learning after the traditional learning had concluded. He was big into learning and to teaching. But as you read the Parable of the Caves, which was written in the form of a dialogue, you begin to wonder, well, why is he saying these things? Well, because he's trying, again, to explain what his beliefs were about the nature of reality. What is the universe? What is it composed of? One of his major beliefs is that the world we perceive with our senses is not the real universe. The real universe, the real world, can only be apprehended, can only be understood intellectually. That's why at the beginning of the parable of the cave, the people are chained down in a cave, and they can only look straight forward, and all they see are the shadows from a flickering fire, uncertain light, echoing sound, the unsteady, the uncertain back wall of a cave for the screen. And to them, that is reality, and that's the only reality they know. To them, that's the whole world. He also believed that you can't really teach anybody anything, that knowledge cannot be transferred from teacher to student, that each student must gather information on their own, that the only thing a teacher can do is kind of direct the student in the right path and kind of give them multiple examples or explain things in different ways and then hope that they catch on. He also believed that ultimately the universe is good, that good will win out over evil in the end, that those people whom he refers to as enlightened, who come to possess a knowledge beyond that of other people, and knowledge is not the right word either, because being enlightened doesn't just mean you've got a lot of information. The internet is not enlightened. Enlightened means complete understanding. If you're an Engl fan, then you might say a person who groks the universe is enlightened. But it's more of a comprehensive understanding of the way things work rather than just simple knowledge and facts. And he also believed that the only good rulers were the philosopher kings, the ones who are enlightened and righteous. And that and he also felt himself that he was both righteous and enlightened. But anyway, fascinating life of Plato the philosopher. Now, the parable of the cave, sometimes called the allegory of the cave, is kind of an introduction to philosophy that the Greeks invented. And it just kind of makes you think about things in new ways. I would encourage you to look up some of the paradoxes, which are mentioned briefly in the PowerPoint, and to kind of think about those, especially the trolley paradox and, the ship of Theseus. That's one of my favorite ones. Okay, so you got Theseus, who sets out on a 20-year voyage. He's got a brand new ship. And as he goes along, a part breaks and he replaces it. A sail gets ripped, gets a new sail. The mast breaks, gets a new mast. Floorboard wears out, gets new floorboard, new nails, new marlin spikes, new rudder, new every. And so at the end of 20 years, he comes back and every single part of his ship has been replaced with a new part, a different part. Is it the same ship? Well, it's got the same name, but other than that, is it the same ship? Now, of course, Plato didn't know this, but biologists tell us that the human body cells die off, skin cells, organ cells, blood cells, they die off and replace about once every 7 years. So at the end of 7 years, are we the same person we were 7 years ago? It's something to think about. And that's all the parable of the cave, the allegory of the cave is designed to do, is to give you something to think about. I would also encourage you to focus on why is it painful to become enlightened? Notice how much pain the man goes through as he crawls up and out of the cave and into the sunlight and the adjustment he has to face. And then, why do the people in the cave seek to kill him if he wants to release them, if he wants to enlighten them? Be careful though, because a lot of the phrases are confusing. A lot of them are, if the man were to descend back down into the cave, would he then be killed by the people? So the conditional verbs are a little confusing there. Try to read past those if you can. I just opened the Turnitin app for your second response paper. I did put it for the correct due date, which is Sunday, March the 23rd. Now I know that that's the end. Is that the end of spring break or is that the week after spring break? Hold on, let me look. Yeah, that's the end of spring break. Spring break is March 17th through the 20th, and so that's the Sunday immediately following spring break. If you want to wait till the last minute to do this for spring break, it's your schedule. You don't have to. You are more than welcome to get this thing done and turned in before then. The app is open now. You can turn it in anytime between now and March the 23rd, which includes, of course, before spring break. But don't feel like you have to wait till the last minute if you don't want to. Be sure to go back and reread my comments on your first paper. For most students, the most common comment was too much retelling, too much plot summary, not enough response. What I'm looking for is, I want to know what you think about the topics. What is your opinion about the parable of the cave? And of course, you want to narrow it down to just one aspect. Talk about the pain of becoming enlightened. You can talk about the resistance to change. You can talk about why it's set in a cave in the first place. Or something about Oedipus the king, Oedipus Rex, and again, narrow it down to one of the major themes, or maybe just one specific event. Jocasta blinding herself is a fascinating thing. Him killing his dad, him fleeing his parents. Now remember, he honestly believes that Polybus and Merope are his mother and father, and so he flees Corinth when he hears the prophecy, doing everything he can to avoid it. So pick one specific event in the parable of the cave, or Oedipus the king, or Sappho. I just kind of put that one in there because it's kind of a unique topic, and Sappho herself is pretty unique. Her poetry is pretty unique, although there's not a lot to work with there because not a lot of her poetry survives. But you're welcome to explore that topic if you want to. Anyway, narrow the focus and just explain, say, okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is the main thing I'm looking at. And then just explain how you feel and why you feel that way. Remember, don't use first person. You do want your thesis, the last sentence of the introduction, to clearly answer the research question. And then each topic sentence, the first sentence of each body paragraph, should support the thesis. Basic essay structure, I know, very, very 1301. But you've all had that, so we're good to go there. All right. After this, we begin Renaissance and Middle Ages. I've lumped those two together because we're only doing one representative sample of each for a couple of reasons. First of all, we've got a lot of time to cover. And secondly, there wasn't a lot written during those time periods. Now, the stuff that we're going to study is really great literature. Beowulf, great literature. Petrarch's Sonnets, great literature. Dante Alighieri, really, really great Italian poet. So, but anyway, those two may not seem to go together. But you got to remember, the Middle Ages is 1,000 years, a 1,000-year gap from about 476 A.D., the fall of the Roman Empire, until a very shallow, very gradual restoration, which we call the Renaissance, a rebirth of learning in Middle Europe. And so we begin to see more and more great literature written at that point, and of course that produces Shakespeare, and that brings us, I think, close to the end of the semester. So, look over your readings. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Be sure to watch the videos, but you're watching this now, so you're doing good there. And when you have questions, drop me an email. Thanks.